Hey, welcome everyone in this new video tutorial about Diablo dungeon generation. In this video we are going to implement logic to spawn a certain amount of additional tiles like this. So let's imagine this is our base layout and we are going to see how are we going to plug additional tiles like this to the dungeon. So let's dive right in. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to create a new type of tile named additional tile. We're going to open it. We're going to open our start tile as well. Well, actually, no, we're not going to create. We're not going to create an additional tile because we want to use the tile we created here to spawn additional tile, and we cannot do that if we create a new child. So I just wanna make it so the floor of the start tile is green, pale green. Yeah, I have way too many tiles for now, so I'm just going to say I want 10 tiles, I want 3 extra connections, and I want 1 max corridor in a row. So this gives me something like this. I like what I see. And now we're going to make a new metric called additional tile amount, and we're going to make it 3, and we're going to keep track of that number as well, current additional tiles. When we reset our level, we will also reset the current additional tiles, and we will check out our function which generate the level. It's resetting it, it's generating the tile layout, it's generating extra connections between them, then it's spawning the tile layout. And here we have a design decision. Do we spawn the additional tiles before or after having generated the extra connection? If we do it before, it will create a more interconnected dungeon. If we do it afterwards, it will create. What I mean by that is, on the example here, we can consider that I spawned the orange tile after generating extra connections, and if we happen to have something like this, I don't know, something like this. If we generate the extra connection after spawning the orange tile, it might link them with each other, and I don't want that in my design. So I will put it after generating the extra connections. So I will create a new function called spawn how did I call the rest of the generation step? Generate tile layout, generates additional tile layouts, and this is going to be a generation step. And I'm going to call it in here. And what does it do? It says for its loops, it is going to loop. No, I don't want that. I want a simple for loop. And I want to loop through the amount of additional tile I have, so we can delete that. Yes, we don't want that anymore. Yeah, it got deleted from the reset level function. I deleted our current amount of additional tiles spawned because we don't need it actually. So what do we do when we are generating our tile layout? Okay. Okay, we want to do basically, what do we want to do here? We want to loop through our, I'm pretty sure we want to loop through our tiles and check if they have unused tile around them. And if they do, we want to generate a tile here and connect it to our additional tile. So I guess we want to loop through our tiles. We want to, for each additional tile, we want to loop through our tile layout. And for each of these tiles, we want to know I want to get what's around this. I don't remember the name of that. Find location around, get locations around. This is going to be called like this. We're going to get the location around this. We're going to loop through them. We're going to check if these locations are used. Is location used? This is going to be called is location used. And then we are going to say if it's not used, we want to break. Actually, we have a design decision here because we always loop through the tiles, the tile layouts from the beginning. So most of the if we use breaking loops and create spawn additional tile and then break the, if we generate 3 tiles, they will all spawn at the beginning of our dungeon here. So that's not what we want to do. I know what are we going to do. We're going to promote that to a local variable. We're going to call that temporary locations. We are going to shuffle that. This is basically randomizing their location in the array, and we're going to get that. So this is randomly choosing tiles in the layout, and it's finding out if they have locations around that are not used. And if locations around are not used, we're going to break the loop. We're going to break each loop when we find a location that is not used. We're going to break through the temporary location as well. So this way. So we're saying for each additional tile, you find the tile layout. Actually, we're going to do that before looping through our tiles, just so we can remove the tile we found here from the list of tiles. So, and ignore the additional tile we spawned as well. So if I'm not mistaken, I can just remove from that temporary location the spot we found. So we found a location around. We found a random location in our dungeon. We get every tile around. We check if any tile around is not occupied. If it's not occupied, We remove it from the random location we can choose. We store that we are going to add a tile now to our layout. So we are not going to remove this one, we're going to remove this one. This is the unused location. We want to add this as an additional tile. This has empty direction. I'm going to make a function. I cannot make a function, or can I? Yes, I can. I can make a function make empty direction. This is going to return, this is going to be a pure function returning a t-map of coordinate points and booleans. I cannot. Oh, well, I think I failed somehow. So I want cardinal point to be a map returning a boolean. Yep. This is going to be called return value. And then we're going to promote that to a local variable, temp map, and we are going to add four things here. We're going to add north, south, east, west. And all of them are going to be closed by default. This is what happens when you create a new tile. You specify that the new tile doesn't have any connection opened yet. So if I'm going back here, I can call the newly created function to do that. And I realize we could have used that earlier, but it doesn't matter. So we are adding an additional tile in here, and we are going to break here. And this is also going to break that if we found a tile. If we broke here, we need to say if we find a location, we break that. If we did not, we keep looping. So how do we do that? We actually don't, it doesn't matter. When we break that, we do nothing. It keeps looping through the random location. No, we want to break here to break that. If and only if we found something. So let's promote that to a variable. Be found location. And this is going to be reset each time we loop through a new tile. And this is going to be true once we've found location. And where we're ending that loop, we are going to check if we actually found the location. If we did, we're going to break the searching loop. So let's just take a moment to see what that does. This is looping through all, this is keeping track, this is getting all tiles, this is shuffling them. Oh, actually we will ignore the start and the end tile from here. We will only get generic tiles. We will only plug additional tiles to the generic tiles. So we're getting a reference to all of our tiles. We're shuffling them. For each additional tiles we say that we didn't find a location for them yet. Then we are looping through the location, the valid location we have. We're making sure we only loop through the generic tiles. We search for location around these tiles. If we find any location around the tiles that is not used, we're removing the location we are currently looping through from the list of valid location we can choose. This means we won't be building 2 additional tiles from the same tile. So we're removing that. Then we are creating a new tile. And then we're telling the code that we found a location, which says, hey, stop looping through the location around the tile. Then if you found a location, you stop looping through the locations at all, and you go back to looping through the additional tile amounts, and you reset the found location. We need to connect the tile we just created to the tile it is tied to. So we didn't do that. And if I'm going back to the generating tile layout function in here, when we're adding a tile, we're also connecting the tile. And I believe what we want to do here is creating a function out of this. And here we can replace that by our function makeEmptyDirection. And we can see where else are we using empty connections. And we will get rid of that. Of that pesky temporary variable that we actually need everywhere. So back to this. This is actually adding a tile to our layout of a certain type. We need to tell him what type it is. We need a function that does this, exactly this. So we're going to promote that to a function. We're going to call that function add tile to layout. And we are going to make it so it's cleaner, because names are all fucked up right now. So the first thing is a vector 2D. So at location, we want to add a tile to our layout at location. This is the tile type. And this is not what we want. This is connected to tile. It needs to know what does it plug this tile to, like this, and it needs to know from where it comes in order to plug them with each other. So we're adding an empty tile at location of the type, and we're connecting it to that location from that cardinal point. So if I'm hitting play, it's telling me this node is no longer valid. If I'm refreshing it, it seems to be working. In here, I just want a generic tile. If I'm compiling, I just want to make sure everything works and I did not break anything. I'm going to remove the logic we're currently working on from the logic, generate additional tile layout, and I'm just going to hit play to see if, yep, it appears that I broke something on my way. My first tiles Okay, so what did I broke actually? Make empty direction. What did I broke? So let me see. What did I actually modified in here? We are adding a start tile having empty directions. This is empty by default, and we are adding all of that in here. When we, okay, I know what might be causing the trouble. Okay, I know what's wrong. I just wrongly plugged that. I want to connect this tile with this one. Yep. Okay, maybe the contrary then. Yep, that's it. Whew, I was afraid I broke much more things. So in here, what we want to do, we want to make it so we understand what's going on with the wires. So where is it going? It's going this way. It's going like this. And like that. Whoop. And then we are going to add our logic back, our additional tile layout logic back. If we go back in here, we are doing this. We want to add tile to layout instead. At location, tile type additional tile. Where to what is it connected to? It is connected to this tile. This is the starting location for our additional tile we are looping through at the beginning, and it's asking where does it come from. So we can just use our fancy little function here. It could have done that automatically. Actually, we're going to do that. So this function, we're going to go here and say, hey, where am I coming from? From that tile to this tile. And we don't need from cardinal anymore in here. So we can go here and remove that. We can go here. And if I hit compile, if I remove the logic once again and I hit play, nothing broke. Hopefully. Yep, so I'm adding it again. I'm going here. So I want to add, this is not by reference. The location, the parameter was by reference. I don't want it to be by reference. So back to our additional tile layout function, we want to add an additional tile at that location. And yep, that's it. And how are we going to check if that works? If I'm hitting play, okay, I know what's wrong. We didn't specify what type of tile it had to spawn, but it should not spawn additional tiles anyway. We're going to check. I know what's wrong. So get class, get tile class. If the type of the tile, we want to create generic tile anyway. So we're going to say in here, if we're asking for a generic tile, we are going to, or an additional tile, we're going to create a random valid tile in here based off the generic tile list we have. So how can I make sure it works? I'm going to try something. Oh, we have errors? Why do we have errors? I'm going to make a break real quick and I'll be right back.